Hi, Dave.
Hey, Nick. Great presentation earlier. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really went well, I thought.
I'm glad. I've learned to tell stories. If you tell stories, people remember. If not, they don't remember that 800 million people are living in poverty. But they remember Raina, who now has 8 employees. And I think that gets along a little bit better. All right, so should I go ahead and get started?
I think you can go ahead, Nick. I think we've got 8 people in the room right now, and we don't want to waste any minutes.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, I hope. Yes. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to say, thank you very much for your interest in community economic development. If you weren't in the general session, my name is Nick Frankel. I'm the chair of the Rotary Action Group for Community Economic Development. And joining me today from Canada is Wally Gardner, who's the Action Group Communications Director and soon to be the cadre coordinator for Community Economic Development. I'm going to take a few minutes to review some of the key points from the general session, and then we'll turn it over to you to ask questions or make comments. If you have questions, type them in the chat box. If we can't get to them in the time allotted to us, we'll respond by email. And Wally and I have also put our information in the chat box. The focus of community economic development is to eliminate poverty by strengthening local entrepreneurs and community leaders, in particular women, in impoverished and underserved communities. RAGSET is made up of Rotarians in 92 countries around the world who have participated in successful community economic development projects and are available to help you plan, implement, manage, and support impactful and sustainable community economic projects. As I mentioned in the breakout, every community economic development project has some component of each of these 6 pillars. Every Rotary project begins with a community assessment, in which the community identifies and prioritizes its needs, and then the community becomes partners with Rotary in developing a solution to those with the highest priority. You know, when people think about building economic development, they often think of funding, but the most important thing is education, because education is focused on the skills and knowledge that people need to create, sustain, and grow a business. Education provides the entrepreneur with skills needed to be a successful business owner. The outcome is a plan or a roadmap for how the business will be created, expanded, or adapted to meet the needs of the community. Capital, of course, is important. It comes in many forms and from many sources. It can be funds for microloans, support for large savings groups, or grants of equipment and raw materials. And of course, the Rotary Foundation is always a source of the funding needed. But the goal is to ensure that the project capital is available when it's needed for the project. If education provides the roadmap, then mentoring and coaching ensure that the entrepreneurs reach their destination. The mentor acts as a guide, providing support, advice, and encouragement along the way from idea to creation. And as you would imagine, being a mentor is an ideal role for a Rotarian. For those of you who are in business, you know that you grow by expanding markets, adding products, or creating partnerships. Networking provides the forum for creating awareness and building groups that enable the business to thrive. And of course, evaluation and performance plan are something that takes place throughout the life of the project. Evaluation answers the questions, how are we doing and what might be done better? And as I think most of you know, if you're using a Rotary Foundation grant, it's a mandatory component of your project. Eliminating poverty requires access to stable sources of income. I'd like to share 2 projects with you that have helped beneficiaries work their way out of poverty by creating or expanding a business. First, let's start with Honduras. The Honduras Economic Community, by the way, Honduras is the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, with a large amount of low income or poverty people. The Honduras Economic Development Project began in District 5360 as an idea by Rotarian Steve Ricard to raise $1 million over 10 phases to fight poverty. HECD provides safe and affordable capital to thousands of entrepreneurs, primarily women, who need a source of income to start and maintain a business. The project uses several lending models to provide loans to potential and existing business owners. Now, remember, we started out with 10 phases and $1 million. We are now in phase 7 and have already invested $2.7 million into the Honduras Economic Development Project to help small businesses become trained and get startup loans. So let's look at some of the beneficiaries. This woman started as a client in the Solidarity Group with 10 other women. She used her first loan to buy a mixer. Subsequent loans have enabled her to employ 5 people, buy more mixers, and install an oven. Today, she provides 5 bakeries with custom cake decorations, and she had to build onto her house because the main floor was being used as her production facility. This woman started with a loan to grow vegetables. She now has her own stand in the market. As a result, her children have money for school uniforms, and she has economic security. A microfinance loan to help an established business enabled this ceramic stove making entrepreneur to expand his business, creating 5 new jobs and allowing the company to export their products to 3 other countries. The second project I want to talk about took place in my district, in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties in California. And it's a collaboration between Rotary and Women's Economic Ventures, a local microfinance institution that serves both counties. The goal was to enable the project's target beneficiaries, low-income Hispanic women, to create small businesses and provide a reliable source of income to increase their standard of living and uplift their community. The project was funded by a $240,000 Rotary grant led by District 5240 and supported by 11 other Rotary districts. The project was divided in 2 parts. Beneficiaries, as I mentioned earlier, should be required to complete a business training course before they can get a loan. This project translated existing business training programs into Spanish and funded an outreach person to provide information on the microloan project to the target beneficiaries. Completing the 6-week course made the entrepreneur eligible for a microfinance loan of up to $5,000. And in the 5 years that this program has been operational, the number of Hispanic women participating in the program has increased dramatically. One of them just recently topped $1 million in her total revenue for her corporation. The second part of the project was a revolving loan fund. And as of June 30th of 2020, loans totaling almost $360,000 have been made to start or expand 35 businesses, and we're experiencing a repayment rate of 97%, which is very typical for microcredit projects. More importantly to the local community, these businesses now generate more than $4 million in revenue to the communities in which the loans took place. If you're interested in a community, RAGSED can help. Involved in a community economic development project, and every beneficiary has a story. Wally and I have lots of them, and we could regale you this evening with the impact on people. What we'd really like to do is help you write your own story. So contact us on our website, our Facebook page, or via email. And Rotary opens opportunities when we invest in communities. I'd just like to turn it over to I'm going to stop sharing. And let's turn it over to the people who are participating. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. Let us know, and we'd be very happy to help you. Wally, do we have any questions?
Not at the moment, Nick.
Okay. Then let me talk a little bit about projects that are going on right now. In Tanzania, there is a program being expanded that teaches people how to grow crops, how to take them to market, creates village savings group. And a village savings group is where you get a group of people in the community together to pool their savings, and they lend to each other. That program was actually a finalist in the $2 million program of scale competition. They unfortunately didn't come in first, but RAGSET is working with them right now to probably get a program of about $1 million to continue that work in Tanzania.
Oh, that's great.
Hmm?
That's great. We do have one more question. It just popped up. How is the investment fund replenished?
The investment fund is replenished. I think the important thing to remember about a microcredit program is these are not grants. These are loans. And not only are they loans, they're loans that bear interest. And the interest is based on the local community. And I was just I taught somebody who's working in Africa, their interest rate is 3%. And when we did it in Santa Barbara, California, our interest rate was 12%. The loan fund is replenished by people repaying the loans. And as I said, historically, we get 97% payback on a loan. So the initial way you repay the loan, you replenish the fund is by repaying the loans. The interest is depending on how it is either shared with the organization that's managing the funds, or it's retained as savings to the community so that they can continue to build the loan fund. I hope that answered your question.
Super. So do you want to talk a little bit about the social impact of some of the projects? What's been the social impact on some of the clients?
Well, I think the most important impact on the clients starts with, let's talk about the individuals. It starts with self-esteem. People who have income, who can provide for their own families, who can put their children through school, who can make a difference in their local community, have tremendous self-esteem. And I'll tell you about one of the communities I actually worked in Honduras, where when we first came, everybody sort of walked around with their heads down, their shoulders slumped. When we came back after implementing a $65,000 microfinance program, we met the Avon distributor. We met the lady who was the local chiclet distributor. We met the woman who was the best tortilla maker in the village, and she was selling her tortillas to 5 restaurants. They stood up straight. They were tall. The additional income keeps the children in school, because in most developing countries, school is not free, or if it is, they still have to buy books and uniforms. The community itself is uplifted, because as they see the extra income coming into the community, other people want to have that opportunity, and the impact in the community itself is pretty amazing. I talked about Reina Chavez in my prior presentation. What I didn't tell you is one of her challenges was that during the recession, her husband had been laid off from his job as a carpenter. She was the only breadwinner, and she went out and she started her own business. I've heard her speak several times. I visited her store, and when she spoke at one of my Rotary clubs, at one of our Rotary events, somebody came up to me and said, if that's where my money's going, I'm going to double the amount that I give to the Rotary Foundation. But it really deals with self-esteem. It deals with the wellness of the community. Having the ability to take care of themselves is pretty important. And do we have any questions yet? If not,
we do.
okay.
Lots of questions from David Warren.
Good.
Can you discuss the range of investment amounts required to get involved in an international microloan versus a domestic microloan? If a club wanted to offer a loan for a project, can they choose the project, or is this similar to Prosper in quotes or other fund sourcing sites? How can a club get started?
Okay, right now, what RAG said primarily deals with is projects, not individual borrowers, but we are forming a partnership with Kiva to provide that capability. We're focused on community economic outreach, which means more than one person in the community. Now, it's interesting. I have a friend who works in the far reaches of Uganda, and her average loan is about $100 US. I have another friend who just is starting up a microfinance project for women in northern Honduras who are coffee growers. Her average grant there is her average loan there is $750. In Santa Barbara, California, the average loan is $12,000, because as somebody told me, you don't start a business in Santa Barbara, California with a chicken and a goat. So one of the things you find during your community needs assessment, as you put your project together, is what the average loan will take, what the needs are, and then from that you can build a loan what the minimum loan fund is. And as I said, it replenishes, and the interest is often reinvested in the savings group. So it's dependent. There is a program going on right now out of North Carolina where it's not being done with Rotary Foundation funding, it's being done with Rotary funding. And their loans are running between $2,000 and $5,000. So it's the average loan is really dependent on the community and the culture in the community, because what you find in the United States, if you need a $500 loan, you probably put it on a credit card. In Gulu, Uganda, if I gave somebody $500, they wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
I mean, they wouldn't know what to do with it, but it probably wouldn't be invested in their business.
It's capacity. Yeah, the ones I'm involved with, the smallest loan I believe was $20, and the largest was $5,000. So it depends on the context you're in. So we have a question on community needs assessment. So I'd suggest we mention at this point our wonderful new website, which is www.ragm. No, it's not. It's ragcd.org. We just changed it in July. So I'll put that in the chat, and please check there.
And one of the things you'll find there is a guidebook, a microfinance guidebook, and it has in the guidebook a template for doing a community needs assessment for microfinance programs.
Yeah,
And that's updated right now, but it is there. And if that doesn't solve your problem, we do have people literally all over the world who do community needs assessments, who can help you with global grants, and can do whatever what we can do to help you make a difference in the world.
So there's an interesting question here from Karen Hebert that wants to know how RAGSED helps with ending food insecurity and hunger.
Well, that's interesting because as I talked about the project in Tanzania, right now I'm literally working with a Rotary club in Nigeria. And their goal is twofold. Number one, to bring additional food into the community. And number two, to provide a source of income for the women in the community. So they're going to teach the women how to raise chickens. They're going to teach the women how to make palm oil. They're going to teach the women other agricultural skills. And then they're going to help them not only use that food in their community, but get that to market. We are partnered right now with a nonprofit organization headquartered in Washington, D.C., called Food Enterprise Solutions, whose primary goal is to help people who want to sell their products get their products safely to market. And they're a partner with us.
Super. So we're getting lots of nice, people are saying very nice things about us. That's very nice.
That's right. Hey, you don't have the you don't have the little tip jar, do you?
Yeah, right. Should do that. I'm just suggesting people have a look at the guidebook on our website. The website also has a lot of databases of existing projects and stories that come out every week. We have a subscribe button, and more importantly, we have right at the top of the webpage a button that says "Join us." So, do you want to tell people about membership in RAGSED?
And to get back to your question about cooperatives, I mentioned that what we did in Stolac, where this project we're looking at it, and the project that's going on in Honduras right now with the women coffee growers is basically forming cooperatives. So if the women come together in a particular region and share their expertise, and that's probably the way we're going to address the problem in Nigeria, is not teach people individually, but to have them come together as a cooperative and reinforce each other. And the benefit, Kathy, I don't have to tell you the benefits of people working together as opposed to being competitive. And we will certainly take a look at the National Cooperative Business Association to see if there is a partnership relationship. We also currently have a partnership relationship with the Vision Fund of World Vision, which is one of the world's largest NGOs. And they provide not only microfinance support, but for a large projects, they actually match the investment that Rotary is putting in. We're working on a partnership right now with an organization called Global Brigades, which sends students all over the world to participate in projects. So, and most of them come back and they're changed forever. And I'm sure any of you that have had a Rotary moment, either in your country, in your community, or internationally, know what that's all about.
You bet. So how do you be a member of RAGSED?
You go to the website and it says join us. RAGSED currently charges $25 a year or $100 for 5 years. Now, don't tell anybody, but if you join at the International Convention in June, we'll give you a discount. But we'd rather have your money right now. And what you get is you get a newsletter. We are the organization is sort of reinventing itself. We will be starting webinars on the 6 pillars, on each one of them, how you make them work in your community. What does it mean to do a community assessment? What does it mean to do a education? We have partnerships right now with 3 organizations, including Grameen Bank and the Neumann Foundation, that already have curriculum already done One of them is already translated into Spanish. So before you start your project, reach out to us. We don't want you to invent the wheel if we have a whole storehouse full of wheels to help you.
You bet. At the same time, if you're doing a global grant, we have a whole bunch of cadre members, myself included, that will be more than delighted to read over your grant and check it for area of focus, completeness, whether you've got a good community assessment, good measurement and evaluation, and look at your sustainability of it as well before you submit it. So you want a second pair of eyes or a third or fourth, we're always available for that.
And I think the sustainability issue has a lot to say with why education and mentoring are so important. And we can point you, I guess I don't know where the website currently points to Launch Detroit, but the stories that people tell about education. Because if I came up to you and said, loan me $500, I want to start a hamburger stand, the probability is if you came back in 5 and 3 months, I wouldn't have your $500 and I wouldn't have a hamburger stand.
Well, we just got another $25 for the organization from Karen Hebert. So thank you very much.
We have to ring the bell, right? Ding. I mentored the Pepperdine University.
Oh, 5 years. She gave us $100. Okay, double clap.
Pepperdine University in Malibu, California has a master's program in social entrepreneurship and change. It's a 2-year program where some amazing young people come in and actually create nonprofit or social enterprises. The first year of that program is primarily on business education and what do you do when you actually raise your money. The second year is their capstone project where they do a business plan. And the 2 students that I'm mentoring, one of whom has been in business and just wanted to go out into a nonprofit, said, I've run a business for a while. I had no idea I needed to know all this stuff. So the education part is important and the mentoring part is important. And one of the things the mentor does is not only help them when they run into trouble, the mentor celebrates them when they do something well. And the mentors often become lifetime friends with the beneficiary. It's pretty amazing. If there are no other questions, I could sit here for the next hour and tell stories, but I'm sure you want to go home and I want to go to dinner. I'm in Southern California, but Wally and I can stick around, or please reach out to us. You've got our contact information. If you go to the website and send to info@ragced.org, it gets to us. Nothing goes unanswered. Thank you very much for your interest. I wish you a wonderful rest of the conference. This has been a great idea, and it's been a pleasure to spend the evening through the magic of Hopin with you and the other members of District 6250. And Dave, thanks for running the show.
Thank you, Nick. Wally, you were both terrific. I did absolutely nothing. I sat here silent, but I really appreciated it. And I'd like to congratulate the other 5 or 6 people that were here with us. You definitely picked the right breakout session to be in.
Thank you very much and have a great evening.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Night, everybody.
Hey, never mind. All right. I guess we're going. Goodbye, Wally.
See ya.